With the release of Dragons Rising Season 3, I thought it'd be appropriate to rank all of the Ninjago seasons up to this point. This will include Dragons Rising and all the 44-minute installments. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the 21st spot, we have Crystallize. To no one's shock, really. Crystallize is just a very disappointing and unsatisfying conclusion to the Ninjago storyline up to this point. And, well, what is there more to say on it? Everyone has already said their complaints about this season for the past 3 years, and I have nothing new to really add. I think Harumi, Nia, and Lloyd are all done abysmally here as characters, and Garmadon to a lesser extent, and the Crystal Council is wasted. The only good thing about this season is the premiere episode, which I think was actually pretty decent, but every other episode just is riddled with very unsatisfying plot conclusions or really boring episodes. And there's just not much I really have to add on this season. If you want a more in-depth look into this season, then just look up Ninjago Crystallize review. You'll find thousands more that I'll discuss into the issues of the season that I pretty much agree with. So that's why Crystallize is at the bottom of the list. At the 20th spot, we have Legacy of the Green Ninja, or Season 2, to be more specific. I know a lot of you are probably surprised that this is that low on the list, but if this was going to be the original conclusion to the show, then this was really unsatisfying. The only reason it's better than Crystallize is because at least Harumi doesn't show up. That's really the only thing that's better about it. Everything else is pretty much the same complaints. Really unsatisfying conclusion, boring or dumb villains, just not a very entertaining watch. The first half drags a lot, and the second half feels way too rushed. And the finale is really unsatisfying. That's why it's this low on the list. Next up at number 19, we have Hands of Time. This is the most boring and monotonous season to watch. This season feels dragged out so much, yet it feels incomplete. Every side, story gets concluded in very much the same episode that it's introduced in, and then we just get another filler side story. It's just annoying, and I don't think there's any season that feels this slow-paced and dragged out, yet incomplete. And it really shows how rushed the production is, as the season just feels like complete filler. You could pretty much watch the first episode, the second episode, and any episode that involves getting the Time Blades, and the finale, and nothing changes. Everything is just so pointless. At number 18, we have Day the Departed. This is the definition of rushed, man. It has the exact opposite problem of Hands of Time, where it just feels like 44 minutes was not enough time to dedicate to this entire story, because everything feels so rushed. The villains are defeated within 5 minutes of them coming back, and all of it just feels really unsatisfying. And for a legacy event, this was really disappointing. I really wish this was a full season instead of Hands of Time, but whatever. There's not much else to comment on because it's only 44 minutes, so that's why it's this low on the list. The number 17 spot, we have Rebooted. This season is just extremely messy, man. It's only 8 episodes, and it does feel a little rushed, but I think the finale is really good, and that's probably the best thing about this season. The space arc is dumb, the love triangle is just stupid, and Zane and Pixel's dynamic really doesn't feel as well developed as it could have, and I'm just overall left kind of disappointed by it, but it's not the most infuriating season ever, so that's why it's not lower on the list. But it's still nothing special, it's nothing great, it's just there. Speaking of things that are just there, next up at the number 16th spot, we have The Island. This is the definition of the most nothing installment. I have almost nothing to say about this. It's just there. It's visually nice, I will admit. The island is very well designed, but it doesn't really feel that well explored after the 4 episodes. And honestly, I don't see the point of this existence. It's really just cool lore for Seabound, but I think you could have just made this the first 2 episodes of Seabound. and added extra episodes to that season instead of just this, which, I mean, it's nothing terrible. I don't think it's like excruciatingly bad, but it's nothing great. And I think you could easily skip this one without missing much. At the number 15 spot, we have Prime Empire, and this is one of Ninjago's most forgettable seasons, in my opinion. I just remembered it when recording for this video, and, well, I guess there's some cool stuff. The visuals are nice. The world of Prime Empire is very interesting. I think there's a lot of fun concepts. Okino is a very fun character. And there's not really much. I think Jay needed more focus this season. And so did Unagami, in my opinion, because he's barely in the season. And, yeah, not too much else to say. I think that it's visually stunning, but I think the writing definitely could use a lot of work. In 14th place, we have Ninjago Season 11, and this is a season I'm very divisive on. I go from kind of liking it to not liking it at all pretty much every single week, and right now I'm in the middle on it. I think there are some decent additions to the lore. I think Asphira is a fun villain for her credit, but the Ice Emperor storyline is just awful. I do not care for it at all. Cool concept, but really, really bad execution. The Ice Chapter overall I don't think is great, and the Fire Chapter is just okay. I think that some of the filler in Fire Chapter definitely is a bit much, but overall I don't hate it. And the Ice Chapter is definitely worse, but it's not like god-awful. It's just kind of boring and not very good. And that's what puts Season 11 this low on the list. 13th spot, we have Skybound. And like Season 11, this is also a season I'm very divisive on. For a while, I really liked this season, but nowadays I've kind of started to fall out of love with it because I've realized the many plot holes and inconveniences. Like, Nautocon's powers and the Sword of Souls are just really inconsistent. I don't think it's very entertaining to watch when, like, you literally realize that the solution could have been solved in 5 seconds if they just did this. And that's kind of the whole season. All the ninja are kind of dumbed down here, which I don't think is very entertaining. But I think Jay was pretty good, and Nia getting focus is nice. But other than that, I don't love this season. And the Sky Pirates are actually pretty cool. At number 12, we have the most recent season, Dragons Rising Season 3. And if you've seen my first impressions video, you already know my general opinion of the season. But in case you haven't, this season is mid. It's a very big downgrade from the past two Dragons Rising seasons, but it is no means terrible. Eren, Sora, Raz, and Frack are awesome characters, and Jay and Nia get some good stuff to do in part 2, but the other ninja just don't have much, and the Forbidden Five are absolutely wasted this time round. For how much hype they had in Dragons Rising Season 2, they were just big disappointments this time around, and it kind of sucks. Thunderfang is a decent villain, though, and this season overall definitely isn't terrible, but in my opinion, this is just such a big downgrade, and I think the next few seasons are just way better and feel like a more necessary addition to the story than this. At number 11, we have March of the Oni, and talk about disappointing, man. This season was so wasted. It was way too rushed. I think the story could have greatly benefited if it was, say, 8 episodes long, like rebooted, but no, it's only 4, and I think that sucks because the finale is so rushed and it ruins the whole season. The first 3 episodes are actually pretty decent, though, but for what was set up to be the Oni invasion, the Oni are very underdeveloped, and honestly, the minute Omega starts talking, I'm just out of it. He has such a dumb voice, and it's just really sad. This is the best Ninjago finale season in loose terms, but it still isn't great, and that's kind of sad. I hope Ninjago Dragons Rising pulls off a good finale season, because I don't want it to have a string of just bad finale-type seasons. barely making it into the top 10, we have the Ninjago pilot episodes, and I think this is where we start to get to the good stuff. These are pretty good. Like, they're nothing special, they're nothing great, but I think they're pretty good at what they set out to do, and that's be a TV pilot to this show. And I am very thankful that this show exists, evidenced by why I made this channel. And I think these episodes do everything pretty well. My only complaint is that the other ninja don't really get developed, and there are just really one note. And I think Nia being a damsel in distress is really annoying, but other than that, I think everything else is pretty good. At the number 9 spot, we have Ninjago Possession, and this might be a hot take, I know, but I don't love this season, to be honest. It is 10 years old by this point, and I think that is just crazy to me, but anyways, back on topic. Possession, I think, does kind of waste a lot of good character arcs, but the lore additions are cool, and it is still a very entertaining season to watch. I will give it credit for that. And I think Moro is a pretty good villain as well. Other than that, there's not too much to comment on. I think the season is pretty good. In the number 8 spot, we have Tournament of Elements, and I really like this season. The tournament arc lends really well, and I think all the mysteries and setups are really, really cool. Except Skylar being the spy, that was a very obvious twist in my opinion. And I think the second Serpentine War stuff is way too rushed in the second half. But I honestly think the tournament half is just pretty much almost perfect. I would have liked some more focus on the other elements of Masters and like more of a reason why they joined the tournament. But that's kind of just nitpicking. The season itself, I think, is really good and easily one of Ninjago's best older seasons. Up next at number 7, we have Master of the Mountain. And this season, as a huge Cole fan, is awesome. But I do admit the Geckos and Munt storyline is focused on a little bit too much. But I think that's my only real complaint. Other than that, I think everything done with Cole is pretty good. And the Skull Sorcerer is Cole's perfect nemesis. And seeing him defeat the Skull Sorcerer at the end is super satisfying. And Vanya is a pretty good character, and so are the Upley. They're all a good batch of side characters. The Geckos and Munts are fun, though, I think they were used a bit too much. I think Cole's story could have gotten a little bit more focused to develop him and his mom's relationship. But other than that, I think this season is really good and definitely worth a watch for any Cole fan, as it finally gave him a focused season after years of being neglected. Unless you count Day of the Departed, but that doesn't really count. Just barely missing the top 5. At number 6, we have Dragons Rising Season 1. And this season was such a good start to Dragons Rising. I thought there was some incredible world building and character stuff done here. I think all of the main ninja, most of them anyway, get some to do. I mean, Kai, Lloyd, and Nia are really the only core 6 ninja to get a lot of substantial stuff. But Aaron and Sora are great new characters, and so is Wildfire. And I think all the villains are done pretty well this season, though some definitely overstay their welcome in later Dragons Rising seasons, aka Rapton and Dorama. But other than that, I think this season was such a good start to Dragons Rising and showed so much promise, especially after the season that preceded this one, Crystallized, kind of left a lot of people in a very downer state about the Ninjago franchise. But this was a very fresh new start, and I couldn't be more excited for the next season, Dragons Rising. And boy, I was not disappointed. And now we enter the final 5. At number 5, we have Seabound, and this was a very well-deserved Nia season. Just like Master of the Mountain with Cole, Nia gets an excellent amount of focus here, and I'd argue better because there isn't any Munts and Gecko's side plot weighing it down. Kalmar is a really good villain. While inferior to Pythor, I still think he is really good and really good in his own way. I don't think he's just a Pythor copycat. And honestly, I think this season has really grown on me recently. I used to not really like it that much when it first aired back in 2021, and then I still didn't care for it much when Crystallized came out because of the whole sacrifice being diminished. But other than that, I think the season is incredible, and there is not much to complain about it. I mean, I guess the Explorers Club and Paper Boy stuff was not great, but other than that, I think the season is pretty much flawless. The main plot is flawless, and I think it's an excellent exploration into Nia's character. In the number 4 spot, we have Ninjago Season 1, Rise of the Serpentine, and I know a lot of people will think, yeah, this is way too high of a placement, but honestly, the season is really good as a starting season. Every character gets stuff to do and focus. I admit Jason Cole's stories aren't the best, but it's the thought that counts. At least they get focus. And the Green Ninja mystery was really cool. I liked Lloyd a lot this season. I think him going from a bratty child to the Green Ninja is a really nice development. And I really wish is something Season 2 continued, but unfortunately it did not. This is honestly the best of the original run of Ninjago by a landslide. Season 2 and the pilots just can't compare to this. Every character gets something great to do. Pythor is the best villain pre-Dragon's Rising, and there's just so much to love about this season. While the placement is a bit high, I think it is well-deserved because this season is awesome, and it is not nostalgia bias speaking. At the number 3 spot, we have Ninjago Sons of Garmadon, and I think this season is everyone's favorite, but it's not mine for a couple of reasons. For one, I think the royal family comes absolutely out of nowhere, and I think Harumi post Game of Masks isn't nearly as compelling as she is in Game of Masks or really any other episode. But other than that, I still see the appeal of this season because it is awesome. I think all the ninja are handled well except Kai. I think Kai definitely had a bad moment towards the finale, but other than that, I think this season is immaculate in terms of its visuals, and I think is very strong from a villain perspective and a hero perspective. The ninja losing at the end of the season is definitely something I was not expecting, but I think it's a nice welcome change, and I overall really enjoy the slightly darker tone of the season, and I think the Sons of Garmadon's plan is actually really genius, and Garmadon's resurrection was done extremely well. Definitely not as bad as I thought it would have been when I first heard about it. Really great season, but it's not my favorite. The runner-up spot goes to Hunted. I think this season is incredible, and it was my favorite for a while until recently. This season is so awesome. The idea of the ninja being marooned in another realm, while on the flip side, Ninjago City is completely taken over by Garmadon and the Sons of Garmadon, I think that is really, really cool. And I think it is a perfect follow-up to Sons of Garmadon. And the finale is probably my favorite finale in all of Ninjago. For good reason. That episode is seriously incredible. And honestly, the final 4 episodes are consistently amazing. I don't have anything to complain about for the final 4. The only thing that keeps this season from being number 1 is Dareth. But other than that, Hunted is an incredible season, and I think easily deserves so much praise for how much it does for the show, world-building-wise and character-wise. Lloyd and Wu get incredible arcs here, and I think it's probably their best arcs in the entire show. But there is still one season that beats it out, and by using process of elimination, you already know what that season is. Dragon's Rising Season 2 is the best Ninjago season. And I know some of you might be shocked by me saying that. I know everyone says this is one of the best, but I don't think anyone has put this as their favorite Ninjago season ever. But this season is just incredible in every sense of the word. Roz really cements himself here as Ninjago's best villain in a while. While Season 3 cements him as the best villain ever, this season cemented him as such a great villain. Cinder is really good too. The Forbidden Five are really well built up here. Frack is an awesome new character. Kai is peak this time around. Lloyd's Master arc is incredible. Sora is great this season. And Aaron's arc, while a little messy towards the end, I think is very well handled. And honestly, this season has just so many good things. I could gush about it forever, but, well, this video has been going on long enough, so just in short, Dragons Rising Season 2 was incredible. It is such a good It is such a good build off that foundation that Season 1 made. And this season is just so good. I highly recommend you all watch this season. And it's just incredible, man. You will get the feeling when you watch the season. While Part 1 is my favorite, Part 2 is still really, really good. And I think the Tournament of Sources season just ages better and better every time I watch it. Or the Tournament of the Sources arc just ages better and better every single time I watch it. I think you are seriously missing out because this season was just immaculate the first time I watched it, and it just gets better and better on every single rewatch. Just go ahead and watch this season. What are you doing? Just watch it after you're done with this video, because this is just peak Ninjago. And it makes Dragons Rising Season 3 all the more disappointing, but still, it just makes this season at the same time even better. And I really hope Dragons Rising Season 4, and honestly the rest of Dragons Rising, can live up to this quality, because this is just immaculate. And that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is easily my longest video yet, even though it's only my second video. I never expected it to be this long, but hey, I mean, you're always surprised every day, so go figure. Anyways, if you do like this content, I really would appreciate it if you commented video suggestions in the future. And if you are interested in more content, please consider subscribing. That would really help me out. Anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye for now.